Every night, you flip a switch and the dark disappears without a second thought. For nearly all of human history, that switch didn't exist. When the sun dropped below the horizon, the world went black. The kind of black where you couldn't find your own hand in front of your face. For roughly 300,000 years, every ancestor you have spent close to half of their life inside that darkness. Most of it without even a candle. Just sky, stars, and a fire they fought to keep alive. So, what did they actually do with all those hours? The answer rewrites what we think we know about sleep, about stories, and about what built us into who we are. It starts with fire, because nothing else here works without it. The oldest confirmed evidence of controlled fire comes from Wonderwork Cave in South Africa, dated to roughly 1 million years ago. Fire didn't just add warmth, it rearranged the entire human day. Before it, our ancestors lived like every other primate. Sunset meant find shelter and freeze in place, because movement after dark meant becoming someone else's meal. Human night vision is mediocre at best, and the predators hunting us, leopards, hyenas, wolves, didn't share that weakness. Fire flipped the equation. A burning circle roughly 30 feet across became a line predators wouldn't cross. Step outside it, and the odds turned against you fast. Researchers tracking present-day hunter-gatherer groups have documented exactly that pattern still holding today. But fire's real gift wasn't safety. It was time. Without it, a usable day ended at dusk, 12 hours in summer, as few as 8 in winter. Fire bought back 2 to 4 extra hours every single night, and across thousands of generations, those stolen hours reshaped the species. In 2014, anthropologist Polly Wiessner published a study in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences after years spent recording conversations among the Ju Huanzi of the Kalahari, one of the last populations living something close to that original rhythm. Daytime talk, she found, was almost entirely practical. Hunting logistics, plant conditions, disputes, negotiations. But once the fire was lit, the whole tone flipped. The overwhelming majority of nighttime conversation turned to stories, myths, distant journeys, jokes that pulled the whole camp into laughter. Wiessner's argument, firelight is where human culture actually began. The fire was the first stage, the first classroom, the first place people learned to imagine something that didn't yet exist. And the night held one more secret, one science only rediscovered in the last few decades. You were never built to sleep the way you sleep now. In 2001, historian Roger E. Kirch published research built on 16 years of digging through old documents, prayer manuals, court records, private letters, medical texts, even lines buried in Homer. Over 500 separate references, and all of them pointed to the same forgotten habit. First sleep, then second sleep. Before industrial light, people didn't sleep in one block. They went down soon after dusk, slept about 4 hours, woke for 1 to 2 hours in the middle of the night, then slept another 4 until morning. This wasn't insomnia, it was simply normal for essentially the entire span of human history. And that waking window in the middle of the night wasn't wasted. People visited each other, sat with fresh dreams, wrote, or just lay there thinking. One 16th century medical text called it the ideal hour for quiet reflection when the world itself had gone still. Historians had actually read these references for generations, but kept mistranslating them, unable to imagine sleep working any other way than their own. Then, in 1992, psychiatrist Thomas Ware ran an experiment that confirmed the old texts weren't exaggerating. He stripped a group of volunteers of all artificial light for a month, giving them 14 hours of darkness a night, close to what our ancestors lived with before fire stretched the evening. Within weeks, every subject fell into the identical rhythm. 4 hours down, 1 to 3 hours of quiet wakefulness, 4 more hours down. Nobody coached them into it. Their bodies simply remembered. And during that middle stretch, Vare found something stranger still, elevated prolactin, the same hormone tied to meditation and post-orgasm calm. His subjects described it as peaceful, almost meditative, an entire state of consciousness that had simply vanished from modern life. So, what erased it? Light. Street lamps arrived in the 1600s, Paris among the first, under a king trying to push back crime. Cheaper candles followed, then gaslighting in the 1800s, and in 1879, Thomas Edison commercialized the electric bulb. Within a single generation, 300,000 years of nighttime experience was gone. Here's the part rarely mentioned. The word curfew comes from the French couvre-feu, literally cover the fire, Medieval towns rang a bell each night ordering everyone to smother their flames, not for safety, but because night was supposed to stay dark. Being outdoors after dark without a lantern was, in many towns, flatly illegal. The night belonged to danger and superstition until we lit it up completely and called it progress. Here's what that progress actually cost us. The average modern person absorbs 7 to 8 hours of artificial light after sunset, much of it blue light from screens, which suppresses melatonin, the hormone that governs sleep. Your body can't distinguish a bulb from the sun. Light hitting your retina at 11 p.m. reads as daytime, delaying melatonin, fragmenting sleep, disrupting a rhythm that took millions of years to build. Spend just 1 week camping without artificial light, and melatonin cycles reset almost 2 hours. Proof that 300,000 years of programming is still sitting there, waiting. We didn't just shift our bedtime. We deleted an entire phase of consciousness. The quiet, reflective one, rare subjects rediscovered by accident, and we replaced it with something we now call a disorder. So the next time you wake at 2 a.m. and can't fall back asleep, consider a different explanation. Maybe it isn't a malfunction. Maybe it's memory. For 300,000 years, your ancestors spent their nights exactly like this, gathered at a fire that built civilization out of stories, sleeping in two halves with a pocket of stillness in between, under a sky so dark the Milky Way was just the ceiling, not a destination. And in that quiet hour between first and second sleep, they lay there and thought about their lives, same as you do now. Except we traded the whole system for a light switch, and most of us never noticed it was gone.